Thanks for staying with us. Now, Parliament may have backed down on its decision to build a new 450-seater chamber following the public outcry that greeted it. But one person who still believes the leadership of the House should go ahead with its proposal is Chairman of the New Patriotic Party, Freddie Blay. Mr. Blay is disappointed with the public outcry towards the proposed construction of the new parliamentary complex. Speaking to Joy News on the sidelines of a Ministry of Parliamentary Affairs event in Accra on safeguarding the country's democracy, the NPP chairman said the legislature can go ahead with the construction if it can afford it today, explaining the country will never have enough in meeting its developmental needs.
Maybe we need to, as it is, to analyze it, interrogate it, and see the way for it. If not today, tomorrow it will have to happen.
So
for many, it is the timing which they are bothered about.
Maybe, yes, the timing is the timing and the packaging. Maybe even the parliamentarians themselves have not discussed it. But it begins, the policy making is from the board. That comes out, and then they will bring it up to them. And indeed, it's not the parliamentarians themselves who will have to do it. It will be government. It will have to go into the government's, budget and so forth, and they will have to look at it. But the reaction has been, to me, it's been surprising. And people have, yes.
Are you shocked at the reaction?
I'm shocked at the reaction. People are even angry. I've seen even on the video a soldier angry and so forth over it. Maybe he's not informed about how it is. But as I said, it's maybe the packaging. But let's be very honest with you. Some of such initiatives, we should look at it. It's like the same way when people want to put up the motorway, people will react on it. When we want to put up, Akosombo, people will look at it like Tamahabo, people will look at it. When such, even the Jubilee House now, people looked at it from a very, yes, and some call it, they don't need it. Some say they will need more hospitals. Definitely, we need more hospitals. Definitely, we need a few other things. You see?
But if the state had the money today,
listen, if the state had money and enough that we are talking about many social services, many interventions that the government is involved in, if you move on, because for sure, we will never be adequate in everything that we do. But certain decisions, bold decisions, which may help to increase and strengthen institutions like Parliament, like the executive, like judiciary, and so forth and so on. We will need to look at it. If not today, maybe tomorrow.
Now, Mr. Blay insists the current facility is not fit for purpose and says it is high time the public warms up to the discussion and begins considering the proposal for the welfare of the country's legislators.
Let me be honest with you. The chambers have been in Parliament as well. And the chambers was not even architecturally meant for what we've been doing. It has been modified into doing that. And somehow over time, there is a limit as to how you can go about it. And indeed, when we started politics in this, by the Fourth Republic, we were about 150. It was 200, it's become 275. It may even increase over time because of the population. Why? If you could be thinking about what to do. And it's not today that people are talking about it. In the past, a few years ago, a president had even talked about it. Think about it, what to do about it. Would you look for a new chamber? It's been, even in our time, people were talking about it. How to build a new, what I would refer to as a parliamentary village to go about it. I've seen it done elsewhere. I've seen Australia have a very good one. I've seen Canada has a good one. I've gone to Uganda, I've seen it that way. And I thought maybe at a very reasonable cost it's been done. And people are coming about it, talking about 450. Maybe the numbers are huge. Maybe the cost is huge. And maybe it's the way it has been presented, packaged, made people a bit frustrated and angry over it. But definitely, we need to talk about it. And the way to do that is not to be angry with the parliamentarians. This is an institution that represents an arm of government. Indeed, I would say that's the basis of democracy in this country.
Majority Leader Oseche Mensah-Bonsu blamed the public outcry on mistrust for colleague MPs and charged them to do introspection and work at regaining the public's confidence.
The chamber brouhaha, I think that the discussion, the discourse thus far is predicated on mistrust of Parliament. That indeed is at the heart of it. And members of Parliament should do serious introspection.
Plans to suspend the construction of the new chamber. Members of the board have been locked up in the meeting in the last hour. We'll get on the phone line to speak with Director of Public Affairs of Parliament, Kate Addo, for more information. But before we do that, we bring you a report of how citizens mobilized against construction of the new chamber. On social media, many Ghanaians messages in which they called on their MPs to abandon the idea. My colleague Matilda Vermega has been studying them and now reports.
Security power, so let me tell you. Two brigade Neo, Ebesi Quada so, all the Aquana. Most of the book was see that there were 450 seater parliamentary chamber today.
A resident of Kumasi films a stretch of road running through the suburb of Kwadaso.
450 seater parliamentary chamber today. Ghana, yeah,
It's a dead stretch with a lot of potholes. Vehicles avoiding the potholes turned into pools of water, and pedestrians trudging through the mud.
To the stand say, boys been a war bridge in one. Omudin be ashisha that dear bridge na ebuasio. Ohiam for you see the bridge in the Ebuayana. The passengers name the drew of BSC from and a cano, Alpha so sa. A slope to the stand say, Nipano crown.
Another video, shot of a bridge at Oda, shows a weak bridge on the Praia River. It's in such a bad shape. People on board the vehicle using it would have to alight and then board again after the vehicle has crossed the river.
Passengers in the sea from now.
Weight may cause the dilapidated bridge to collapse. For us, the passengers, we have to.
Now let's listen to Director of Public Affairs of Parliament, Madame Kate Addo, who spoke to my colleague Emefa Apo on the Midday News on Joy 99.7 FM.
They will meet at their usual place at a time to be determined by the board, but yes.
So yes, the chamber will be dropped?
Yes, it's likely to be put on hold. In fact, the Speaker has said, the majority of the House also said, who are both members of the Parliamentary Service Board, that in the light of the discussions that is going on, there's a need to, if not for anything at all, hold, all work on the chamber as it is now. I'm just coming from a meeting with the Speaker where he's assured us that the concerns of the people is paramount and that Parliament is not going to take any action that will be detrimental to the concerns of the people. We're expecting that the meeting, once it's over, will come out in the affirmative that yes, the chamber is going to be halted.
So what happens then to work done so far by architect Sir David Ajayi, who bears the costs?
When you commission somebody to draw any kind of building for you, you will have to, of course, pay for them. If you ask anybody for any service for which remuneration is required, that will have to be rendered. So there's that. Of course, there are issues of the fact that they have spent resources, time, and everything to do that, and what charges there may be. But don't forget that I keep saying that these are at the very, very, very early stages. They hadn't even gone to the point where the members of Parliament would have been spoken to, and it was just the initial presentation of a scale model of the proposed building to the board, which we invited the media to. So it was still at the very early stage that we are expecting that not much cost would have been incurred, although I'm trying to find out exactly the extent of the cost, but I don't think that it will be anything that will be significant.
Let's stay on this a while longer because the Economic Fighters League is vowing to meet what it describes as government and popular decisions with civil disobedience after Parliament pulled brakes on the proposed new parliamentary chamber project. Leaders of the group were last week arrested by police after they disrupted sitting over the matter. There have been some criticisms over the manner Ernesto Yeboah, convener of the group, and Abeku Adams registered their disapproval for the proposed project. But addressing a news conference in Accra Monday, leadership of the group justified their approach.
We cannot pretend to be unperturbed by such misleadership. Ghana has been misled by political choreographers who have formed themselves into two drama troupes, the MPP and the NDC, and messing all of us up every 4 years or every 8 years. We are justifiably angry. The young people of this country are in despair. And we shall not sit down and be killed by despair. So we are up to dismantle this caricature of a democracy feeding all of us. And it is instructive to note that there is a general disapproval from the masses against the frivolous project. And that is what has sent the chamber down. For this reason, we were in Parliament to register our displeasure since all avenue of civil interrogation of the system were closed. It's official, the launch of civil disobedience, as I said, a non-violent interrogation of the vampire system and the architects behind them. It is a summons we have issued to the Ghanaian youth to rise up and be counted in this nation's hour of need. Hey! We say we do not want a cathedral. They say we will build it. We say we do not want the US-Ghana colonization agreement. They say we have signed it. They pass it in 3 days. We say we want right to information bill. It takes 17 years for them to pass it. Now, we say we don't want a new chamber. They arrest us, abuse us, and molest us just to silence us. What we have is a fake democracy created and sustained by a Sakawa constitution.
So that's Ernesto Yeboah. He is convener of the group, the Economic Fighters League. He joins me in the studio now. Good to have you here, Ernesto. You talked about civil disobedience. What exactly do you mean by civil disobedience? Are you going to hit the streets, breaking the laws? What do you mean?
Well, thank you very much and good evening. We take it from the utilitarianist perspective, where we are looking at the greatest good for the greatest number of people. So that even if it has to take us to break the law in order to write something that we believe is in the supreme interest of society, we are ready to do that. After all, what else can they do? Is it to arrest us or to kill us? We aren't afraid of any of that, because we know that what is inspiring us is not anger. What is inspiring us is love. We are doing what we are doing because we love this country. We are doing what we are doing because we believe that a better future for the unborn generation has to be left behind. And therefore, we want to employ these methods if that's the only way that our leaders could have their minds drawn back home. I've listened to the chairman of MPP, still continuing in that disrespect, the disregard for the legitimate will of the people. Today, when we occasioned our press conference at our base in Nima, The whole idea was to get the media to look at the living conditions of the people. A democracy that doesn't prioritize the needs of its people is not a democracy. It's a fake system that has been forced down the throats of the people through, how do you call it, the public, PR systems and all of that. So the act of civil disobedience is not an act of violence. It is an act inspired by love to bring about a societal change, one that can open up opportunities for all of us. Currently, what we have is a system that works for a few, and that's not what we want. If you take the 1992 Constitution, for instance, this is a constitution that doesn't represent our aspiration as young people. It is a constitution that was written to protect the interests of a few group of people, and up till now, it still does. So, raising these fundamental questions is our way of stamping our authority as young people and as citizens of this country with a legitimate stake in everything that this country has to offer.
And speaking of the MPP chairman, Freddie Blay, and the comments he made there, he's been justifying the project. His words were that if Parliament has the money today, they should go ahead and construct it. You're saying that those words are unfortunate. He says that, you know, yeah, we have so many developmental needs, but we cannot address them all. Are you against the construction of the chamber in principle, or are you against the construction of the chamber now?
We're against the idea that, this is what our leaders are thinking about, because that isn't what they should be thinking about. This shouldn't be a priority. Our members of parliament are one of the most comfortable group of people in the world. Compare our MPs to the MPs of UK. Ask which one of them are comfortable. Whilst the MP in UK is riding a bicycle from home to parliament, ours are riding in V8s. All our MPs are in swivel chairs from China. Yet, when you look at the UK parliament, sometimes they even sit on the bare floor, and we go to them and ask for loans. So you could tell who or which group of politicians appear to have the interest of their people at heart. And from the way the chairman of the MPP is talking, it demonstrates clearly that they have absolutely no regard for you and I, for our children, for, young people in Ghana, or for the citizens of the country at large. And this is exactly what we are fighting. We are fighting the impunity. See?
Right. Now, you know, at that press conference, you also made another demand of the military hierarchy. You do know the military officer who was sanctioned for, he was seen in a video which has gone viral now, also criticizing Parliament for its decision and demanding that the chamber be dropped. We understand that he's going to go through the process of being sanctioned. And you're making a call. What call is that?
We are saying that he's a good man. He came in at a time when the nation was silent, and reasonably so. Your colleague journalists are being shot left, right, center like dogs. Excuse my language. And up till now, there hasn't been any inquiry as to who has caused those kind of who has violated journalists in that way. Police officers are shot and killed by armed robbers.
But how do you respond to those who argue that his actions went contrary or violated the regulations of the military service?
You see, we have to ask ourselves a simple question. Why are laws made? And some will choose a purposive interpretation.
Are laws made to be broken?
Yes, they are made to be broken if they are not working in our interest.
So you think he did nothing wrong?
So between the law and
you think he did
life,
nothing wrong?
No, it's a simple question. Between the law and human life,
very quickly,
which one do we go?
Very quickly, we do know that there's a march coming off next week, Saturday. We have seen that there's some indication that Parliament may be dropping the chamber. Is this march still going to go ahead?
It has to go ahead because of people like Honorable Freddie Blay and the type of utterances.
Very well. Making. All right. Thank you very much. Ernesto Yeboah is a convener of the Economic Fighters League, and he was here with me discussing several issues relating to the Drop That Chamber crusade. We're taking a short break. This is Joy Prime, News Prime. I'm Marva Crimson. Welcome back. Now, family of a man who died in the custody of the police in Kumasi on Sunday is disputing claims that their deceased relative jumped out of a police vehicle on the way to the police station. 35-year-old Kofi Poku's death has since fueled pockets of violence at Tafo in Shaiso, where the incident occurred. A statement from the Ashanti Region Police Command indicates police had pursued and arrested Kofi Poku for failing to adhere to a signal to stop. Eyewitnesses, however, say the victim was assaulted by police and was too weak to jump off a police pickup vehicle. Nanaya Aljima has more in the following report.
Until his demise on Sunday, the mobile phone dealer and repairer was one of the individuals who championed interest of traders at KJTIA.
Military men around the military zone. We're not in the military zone, but what we are telling the ministry is that we know how the economic hardship is.
Here is the Strout's mother, Nana Ekwia Bema, who managed just a few words.
He was not a troublemaker. He was everybody's friend at work and home. He fended for my mother and I.
According to eyewitnesses, they saw him rush out of his car in an attempt to escape from the police, but two community police assistants chased and later arrested him. Prince Amos says he was beaten and weakened on the spot.
I saw the community police assistant push him to the ground. The two started beating him. I asked why, but none responded. Some women there suggested I call in more people. On our return, we pleaded with them to allow take him to the hospital for attention. So later we bring him to the police station. They will not understand. So we poured water on him. Gun building police personnel came in and put him in the bucket of their pickup.
A misunderstanding broke up between the community and police after the victim died. Prince explains how.
We followed them to the hospital. When we got there, he was lying on the ground, surrounded by nurses. He didn't respond to anything, so we suspected he was dead. Later, some young men from the community came and started arguing with the police. More of them came and outnumbered the police, who then drove off. Later, a reinforcement arrived and started firing warning shots to disperse the crowd, while they arrested a few people.
A staff of Tafo Government Hospital was manhandled on suspicion she aided the police personnel escape. Medical Superintendent Dr. Kwame Ajeman says the victim is in stable condition but wants security reinforcement at the facility. He confirms Kofi Poku was brought to the hospital dead.
When the patient was brought to the facility, that the patient was already dead. Any body marks? Oh, that I cannot tell for now. So I think there's going to be a forensic investigation, and it will be premature for me to state anything in that direction.
Tempers continue to flare up in the community as relatives demand justice following the police statement explaining the cause of death.
It's the cause of the police that has caused our brother's death. We won't let this go, because this is not the first time. The police are doing this thing, and nobody is telling them what they are doing is wrong. But we will wake up against them.
Kofi Poku left behind 2 children and a wife. From Kumasi for Joy News, Nanaya Aljima reporting.
You're welcome back. Thanks for staying with us. Now, the Electoral Commission's limited registration exercise in the Tamale metropolis was disrupted earlier Monday when Irish youth fired gunshots to disperse prospective voters who had queued up to register. It's not clear what sparked the violence, but some eyewitnesses who spoke to Joy News point to a disagreement between supporters of the NDC and MPP.
We were here when the fight started between the NPP and NDC. They called others and went to the station and started firing. The EC officials left the scene to the regional head office and refused to answer questions from the police commander.
Police commanders original office. It is supporting the original office, police headquarters. We were having some excesses. Some people were and then we counted them and gave them for which they can use to do.
Well, we're told EC officials have moved to the police to file a formal complaint. Martina Bugri is our Northern Regional correspondent. She joins us live on the line. Martina, what have you gathered from what the EC officials have been telling the police?
What I gather is that the registration was distracted. There were gunshots, but they wouldn't give me the details of what they have written to the police. But they confirmed that indeed guns were fired at the scene and they had to stop the process. It's been difficult getting the police to speak from the public relations officer who says he's out of town to the metro office. It's been difficult to get them to speak, but my source has also confirmed that indeed there were gunshots at the scene at the Tamale metro office of the EC.
So were there any casualties and arrests as well? Do we know?
One person was injured and is currently on admission at the Kapsad Hospital. He sustained injuries on the forehead and is being treated at that hospital. We were also at the EC's office a while ago where the police had gone to take evidence from the scene. They found some holes punctured through the ceiling and then they picked up some bullets as well.
Martina, we were under the impression that the limited registration exercise ended yesterday, Sunday. So it's quite surprising that we're hearing that the exercise was ongoing today in Tamale. Was it extended?
Yesterday, the exercise did not end in Tamale because some people were in the queue and the EC had to close. And so they were issued with chits or coupons to be able to use it today and register. And so that was the process that was being undertaken until the violence erupted.
Very well. Thank you for those details. Martina Bugri is our Northern Regional correspondent. Moving on, sanitation inspectors in the Ashanti region capital, Kumasi, have begun a crackdown on filth in the city as the KMA spends millions each month to ensure proper sanitation. In a campaign with our sister stations Love FM and Insure FM, the sanitation inspectors have been moving through communities to crack down on the problem. Already, some people are being made to do communal work as the inspectors enforce the city's bylaws. Our correspondent Erastus Asari Donko filed this report from the suburb of Asafo.
This week, our news team and environmental unit stormed the streets of Asafo. This man was caught urinating behind the smelly Asafo market area, contributing to the stench emanating from there. He was made to do communal work, cleaning the whole area. Cold store operators who were found to be selling under unhygienic and filthy conditions were made to clean the whole area.
This is a reference. When I come
I meet you, I will take you to court. So just to give you a reference that I have informed you, and then you are supposed to stop. So the notice of advice I'll give it to you. Very good. By my law, I need to give the notice. For somebody that I'm giving you that, I'll give it to you. Are you sure that you have told me? No, have you seen the crates? Look at the crate. It's too dirty. Yes, the crates are dirty. Have you seen that? No, even the crates are too dirty. Make sure you change the entire crate. Either you wash it or you change the entire crate. Else, when I come the next time, I will not be right. Comes from the Tema. Yes, make sure the good crate.
Area could be next. Keep your environment clean. Love and Instra FM KMA environmental campaign. Keep Kumasi clean.
So there you have it. Keep your environment clean. Now, an Accra High Court has dismissed an application filed by Deputy NDC Director of Communications, Kweku Boahen, seeking to strike out the charge of conspiracy to cause harm leveled against him by the Attorney General. NDC National Chairman Samuel Ofusampofu and Mr. Boahen are standing trial over viral video state prosecutors allege to be evidence of a plot by the NDC leader to commit various crimes. Lawyers for Mr. Boahen had wanted to truncate the trial with the application, but Justice Asiedu ruled that the application is without merit. There's more in the following report.
Charges of conspiracy to cause harm and 2 counts of assault on a public officer have been leveled against the 2 NDC officers. They have both pleaded not guilty and are currently on bail. Lead counsel for Kweku Boahen, Dr. Abdul Basit Bamba, who moved the application, argued that documents filed by the AG fails to satisfy the requirements needed to sustain a charge of conspiracy to cause harm. Chief State Attorney Siama Sampon opposed the application. He argued that it was premature as the state prosecutors intend to, in the course of the trial, prove the case filed with credible evidence. He added that the court had earlier ruled on a similar application filed by lawyers for the NDC chairman. Justice Asiedu dismissed the application, directing that state prosecutors call their first witness to testify. Lead counsel for Mr. Ampofu Tony later informed the court he had filed an application for stay of proceedings. Justice Asiedu said he was not aware of the application and asked that the case continues. Chief State Attorney Siama Sampon, however, informed the court the state's witness is not available. The case was therefore adjourned to July 23, 2019.
You're still watching Joy News Prime with me, Araba Kumsin. News just coming in. Parliament has indeed dropped the chamber a while ago. As you do know, the Parliamentary Services Board had been meeting over this and other matters. We do understand from our sources there that this matter came to strike of the agenda for the current year. We're taking a short break. Sports is up next. Welcome back. Now, the dream of a girls' school winning the National Science and Maths Quiz for the first time is over. Many who yearn for that feat are waking up to the reality. The only all-female school left standing in the competition has been denied a chance at the grand finale. St. Peter's SHS beat Wesley Girls High School and Tepa SHS to book a place in the finals. 5-time winners Presec Legon also increased their chances of winning the trophy for a record 6th time after beating Adisadel College and Opokuwari School. St. Augustine's College booked the last seat at the finals after beating Ghana Secondary Technical School GSTS and Keta Senior High Technical School. Maxwell Akbakwa has more.
Now, once again, the super sub for St. Augustine's College, Newton. Well, there are proposals for the round 4 and round 5 to be named after Newton. Some are saying that it should be called the Newton round. But let's speak to some old students of St. Augustine's College. Let's find out from them what this victory means to them. Let's speak, first of all, let's talk to Dr. Kobe Mensah of the University of Ghana Business School. Doc, what is the feeling like?
Of course, as you can see, very ecstatic feeling. I mean, we are very proud of the school, and we are very proud of the boys. I think the boys are doing fantastically well. And we are here in our numbers every day to give that morale, the absolute support that they need for us to win it. I told you the other time that we are in to win it, and we're certainly winning it now.
Let's speak to the president of the 2001 year group. Let's find out from him what he makes of this contest. Now, it looks like you have, for want of a better word, monopolized round 4 and round 5. Some have proposed that it should be called the Newton round, because it looks the case that even when St. Augustine's is down, in round 4 and round 5, the magic happens.
You know, so it's called the Newton effect. It's now a scientific constant, K, used in scientific calculations. So you see, we have been able to train our boys at that. They keep calm under pressure, they keep their composure, and they do their best. And their best is winning. They have to win, and they win. That's what we are good at.
So, as I always say, this is my 3rd time appearing here. St. Augustine's College, we are going for the trophy to Cape Coast. Forget about everybody. The year of return. Augusto, we are the Sharks. We